Neighborhoods spent hours on edge today, some evacuating, others waiting for that word. Thankfully, all of the pre-evacuation notices for the Hogback Fire near Morrison were lifted about half an hour ago.
West Metro Fire says it was caused by an electrical wire downed by all the wind. About 40 acres right now, still considered to be 0% contained. Firefighters are still working to get a perimeter around it. Crews will continue to mop it up this weekend.
9 News reporter Jennifer Meckles is out there on the west side of the Hogback where that fire started and where Highway 93 is still closed tonight, Jenny.
Yeah, closed to the public. There are still some emergency crews out here. Guys, it's a totally different scene tonight than what you saw today. Earlier today, you saw the winds blowing, you saw the flames on the ridge, everything like that. Tonight, it is quiet. There's a little bit of glow on the west side of the Hogback, but very few emergency responders left here tonight, just some folks kind of monitoring what's going on up there. But it was a day of a lot of anxiety for the people who were driving along 470 watching this, and especially for the folks who were living under those pre-evacuation orders.
The first thing I thought of is it truly smells like a smoke pit out there.
Smoke from the Hogback Fire was visible all afternoon from Camilla Sassen's driveway.
So we're on a pre-evacuation notice here in the Soltura subdivision, which I can say I have never in my lifetime ever had anything like this before.
So they got to work. First, the four-legged kids.
Snickers was the first on the pre-evacuation list.
The human kids were luckily already at a sleepover, so Camilla and her husband started checking off the pack list.
And so I was literally going around the house videotaping everything just to make sure for insurance purposes we have everything kind of cataloged. You know, I'm wearing all of the jewelry I think that I own on my hands because I didn't know what else to do with it. And then, you know, getting passports, licenses, getting enough clothing for like 2 or 3 days. This might be the last time that we see things in our house, right? So just trying to think, okay, what would it be that would be really important to me? Like my mom's ring. You know, those are the types of things that are kind of going through your head, which is really kind of wild to think about, I think.
Wild. That was one way to describe what drivers saw along C470 Friday afternoon. And of course, let's talk about those winds.
Yeah, well, my car's been rocking, so I just decided to pull over and watch and see what happens.
Oh yeah, my car was all over the place coming down.
I was going to the gym earlier today and I got like blown across the parking lot trying to go in the gym. Everyone's making jokes about it, but as long as everyone's staying safe, that's good.
Being an ER doctor, I think I always sort of prepare for the worst and hope for the best. That's probably my, you know, sort of motto for life in a lot of ways.
To Camilla, safe means ready, because visible from her house is just too close to ignore.
And if we're prepared, we've got the dog, we've got the, you know, luggage, we've got our, you know, our car packed with all of our valuables, and we don't need it, that's okay. You know what, tomorrow morning we'll unpack, but at this point, it's better to be safe than sorry.
So Red Rocks was supposed to have a show tonight, but they had to cancel because of all these fire conditions. However, the artist, Dabin, I was following him on Twitter tonight, guys, and he said he found a last-minute, smaller venue still to be able to perform at the Temple nightclub in Denver. So hey, something good came out of all this, I suppose.
How incredible for that artist to go to that extent for his fans. Not Red Rocks, but still, you know, it'll be a great show.
Something.
Yeah, exactly. Jenny, thank you.
Deputies are still monitoring the 403 fire up in Park and Teller counties tonight. It's around 1,200 acres. There are still some evacuation orders in place. Deputies say they'll reevaluate that situation in the morning. No buildings have been lost. Down here in the metro area, clear on the other side of town from the fire that Jenny was covering in Morrison. This brush fire got very close to homes in Aurora. It started burning at Parker and Chambers near Cherry Creek State Park. Thankfully, that fire stayed pretty small, just 3 acres. 9 News reporter Luis De Leon was out there today. And Luis, again, the issue with this is just how close it was to those homes.
Kyle, it was a very scary situation for a lot of the neighbors that I was speaking to out here today. Firefighters were going door to door to at least around just under a dozen homes to get people to evacuate, because you can see over my shoulder here, it might look dark, but that's because it's the burnt up grass that got very close to the edges of those landscapes and the back patios of this collection of condos here in Aurora. Aurora Fire says that they had their brush fire trucks all fully staffed today, placed in different parts around the city in case something like this happened in the first place. As the flames approached these homes in Aurora, next-door neighbors,
Like when she texted me, you could see it as a little one.
like Elijah Smith and Nicole Torres, made sure to warn each other right away.
I was freaking out. Once it was getting closer to the house, I was already shaking. I just grabbed the dog and ran because I didn't know what to expect.
The two were told to leave their homes Friday as firefighters got it under control in around an hour.
Aurora is a community
though the wind continued to howl.
On a windy day like today, this situation really could have gotten out of control.
Aurora spokesperson Sherry Jo Stowell said they still don't have a cause as of Friday night. And the fire was held to just under 3 acres. Throwing a lot of resources at a small fire is what Stowell says they prepared for amid the fire danger this week. For this fire, they had extra crews at the scene just for what they call structure protection.
In this case, it meant that there were firefighters strategically placed in the neighborhood watching different angles of the fire.
Thankfully, no structures were ever burned.
I think we have to recognize that neighbors are extremely nervous when situations like this happen. So they're gonna send a lot of engines, a lot of brush trucks. Some of our trucks even stayed in a staging area and were never even used, but it's better to have them here and have them at the ready than not have enough resources on hand.
And thankfully there were no other injuries in this. There were no injuries at all, actually, in this fire today. Kyle, those neighbors that you heard from just now, they told me that in the 4 or 5 years that they've lived here, they've never really seen a fire this close to their home. They've seen fires across the way over at Cherry Creek State Park, which is just down the road from here, but never this close right up to their backyards.
Maybe not an experience that they needed, but one they got anyway today. Glad everything turned out okay. Yeah. Luis, thank you. Those whipping winds exfoliated Boulder today. It was a brownout on the roads over there. Wind gusts reaching nearly 80 miles per hour around Boulder, according to the National Weather Service. The strong gusts took some unfortunate souvenirs from trees in Littleton to power lines in Golden. Around 4:30 this afternoon, nearly 26,000 XL customers were without power. Tonight, it's down to 3,000 people still in the dark. 2 dogs had to be rescued from an overturned semi on Highway 93. Rescuers got them safely out of the truck. They were fine, so was their human. Anybody think about going surfing in Arvada today? This is the Arvada Reservoir. Whitecaps. That is absolutely wild. Winds gusting up to 55 miles per hour.
Colorado is serving a bit of a weather buffet today because there was blowing dust across the Front Range, but blowing snow across the high country. This is what the Eisenhower Tunnel looked like earlier today. Slick roads, backed up traffic on both sides. Whiteout conditions are making Rabbit Ears Pass completely impassable. CDOT has closed US 40 in both directions between the pass and Kremling due to safety concerns. Danielle, is all of this extreme weather finally calming down into the weekend? Like what are we in for?
Well, at least, Alex, the winds have backed off quite a bit for us tonight here in the Denver area. Still a bit windy up in and around the foothills. As we look ahead toward tomorrow, unfortunately, the winds are back. Not quite as fierce, but still they're back, and they will once again kick up high fire danger for far southeastern Colorado. This is going to be just outside of downtown Denver. Wind gusts tomorrow upwards of 40 miles per hour. That red flag warning goes into effect at 11. Will continue until 8 o'clock tomorrow evening. Out there toward Blackhawk, Central City, 40 mile per hour wind gusts, about 24 mile per hour speeds out toward DIA. Everyone else finally getting a much needed break from those ruthless winds. Up into the high country tonight, I still am looking at a few isolated flurries. They will be winding down after midnight, and hopefully those winds should be settling down. So traveling up there tomorrow should be a bit better. We do have the winter storm warning in place, as well as the advisory south of I-70 for another about 1 to 3, 2 to 4 inches within the next couple of hours. Winds really calming down quite a bit for many of us tonight, thank goodness. But again, tomorrow with the heat, relatively low humidity values, plus a resurgence of the winds, especially across the plains, we will be monitoring high fire danger yet again. Tomorrow, once again, Mother Nature bringing us another wild one: snow, cold temperatures, and a bit more wind. I'll break it all down for you. We'll go over the timing in about 10 minutes.
Thank you, Danielle. Today is Trans Day of Visibility, the annual day dedicated to celebrating the transgender community and raising awareness of the discrimination they face. At least 4 Christian schools in northern Colorado closed today, some telling parents they were concerned about a threat on this day from the LGBTQ community. Law enforcement in northern Colorado says there is no such credible threat. This is the head of Resurrection Christian School in Loveland warning parents last night about some kind of gay rampage coming up I-25.
So what we've been told is that tomorrow is a day of rage by that community, and that they are going to be sweeping up the I-25 corridor and headed to Fort Collins ultimately. However, what we're being told is basically anything in their path they're going to destroy, and they are specifically targeting Christian entities and Christian organizations.
Again, Resurrection Christian School has provided no evidence that this is true. No law enforcement agency says that this is true. Resurrection Christian School told parents that law enforcement had informed the school that Christian organizations would be targeted today. We talked to a number of law enforcement agencies across northern Colorado, and not one agency said that. In fact, the Fort Collins police chief actually made a video trying to knock down some of the chatter that was being sourced back to some unnamed law enforcement agency.
I want to let our community know that we have heard a variety of concerns and rumors about national issues and how they're going to manifest here locally. I want to let you know that we've had a team of detectives look into each and every one of those rumors, and we have found there is no credibility. Nothing for us to report to our community.
This afternoon, the head of Resurrection Christian School told me that his claims about LGBTQ people coming up I-25, destroying anything in their path, did not actually come from law enforcement. He wouldn't say where he got that. And he said that our reporting about his claim makes his school a target.
The winds are calming down tonight, but they could still be an issue tomorrow. Danielle has more on the potential fire danger.
You will never see these artworks together again like this, ever.
The Denver Art Museum is using that to start conversations about history.
These eyes are on the women this March. March Madness is incredible, and each round just keeps setting new records.